I don't know what it is about summer, but for some reason, the warm weather really just brings out the need to read so many books and just so many beautiful summer books, whether that be romance, literary fiction, literally anything. Like, I am never in the mood to read like I am in the summertime. I'm super excited. The summer solstice was a few days ago, so now it officially means it's time for summer reads. And I want to talk all about the books that I'm going to be reading this season. So, hello, welcome. My name is Reagan. If you've never seen me before, I have it was short. Um, it was short, and then I just kept adding books to it. But I have a summer TBR list that I want to share with you guys. Some books that I am hopeful to read. Books both from my physical TBR, but also ones that I have from the library, which I'm going to show you. And yeah, I'm so excited. I am going on a beach vacation literally tomorrow. So I am so excited to just sit on the beach and read, because what better environment is there than to just sit on a beach and read? Like, that is the perfect day. So for all the books that I'm going to be talking about today, I obviously have not read them yet because they are my to be read list. So I'm going to be giving a little bit of a synopsis and just like my general understanding, but who knows if that's even correct, because obviously I have not read these books. So just bear with me, and at the end of the summer I'll check in and let you know if I was right or not, what my opinions are, what my thoughts are on the books. And yeah, let's get into it. So the first book that I have on my list is one that I'm planning to read on this beach vacation, because I can just picture it just being by the ocean, reading this weird little book. Like, I'm so excited. And that is The Pisces by Melissa Broder. I have never read a Melissa Broder book, I'm pretty sure, but like all of the years that I've been watching like book talk, booktube content, bookstagram even, I have just heard about her and have been wanting to read her books for so long, and I think now is finally the time. Literally the only thing I know about this is that the main character, this woman, is kind of like struggling in life a little bit. I love books about women not knowing who they are or what they're doing in life, because relatable. But yeah, this woman, she doesn't really know what she's doing, and she goes to the ocean one day, and I think she falls in love with a fish or like a merman sort of thing. Not in like a fantasy way, but in like is it called speculative fiction or just like a literary fiction weird way? And I've heard this book is really weird, and it sounds really weird just from the premise, at least. I've heard good things about it, and I just want to see what it's like for myself. And I don't know, maybe I'll keep my eye out for a big fish when I'm by the ocean, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's the first book that I'm really excited to read. I have this on my Kindle right now through the Libby app from my library. So excited to crack that one open. The next book that I have is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I recently got this from my local indie bookstore because it finally came out in paperback after like 3 years of being in hardback. And the sprayed edges are just so cute, and I couldn't resist, unfortunately. This book is about this older woman. She is like retirement age, but she continues working as a janitor at this aquarium. And this woman is pretty alone in life. Her husband recently died, and her son went missing many years ago. So she's just doing this job, I think, to kind of have someplace to be, have just something to do. She ends up befriending this octopus in the aquarium, who he's a little bit of a troublemaker, you come to find out. I actually started reading this the other day, and I got about 26 pages in. I had to put it down because this book talks a lot about grief. At the time, I think that was a little bit much for me, so I stopped reading it, but I think before the end of the summer I will end up finishing it, because it is really sweet, what I've read of it so far, and I just love the idea of an octopus like being a main character. I just love this book. It's so beautiful, and it seems so summery. Like, it does take place in the summer, so I really should read it this season. I'm just a little scared. Like, I think it's gonna be really sad. I'll get to it eventually. It's on this TBR for a reason. Okay, the next book that I have is what I'm planning to be my big book of the summer. which is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I don't have this yet, but I'm planning to check it out from the library because they always have copies of it. I've just heard nothing but good things about this book, and a lot of my favorite booktubers really, really love this book and say a good time to read it is in the summer. This is a classic novel by John Steinbeck. I've actually never read anything by him. I never had to read Of Mice and Men by him in school, so this will be interesting to kind of see what he's all about. But I think this is just like an American family story. That's really all that I know, but I just have heard nothing but good things about it, and I think it takes place in the summertime potentially, or maybe throughout multiple summers. I'm not really sure. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. This is what I'm planning on reading as like a big summer book, and I think it will take me a while because I think it's over 600 pages potentially, but I would like to read it before the Netflix show comes out. I'm not sure when that, or is it a show or a movie? I don't know. All I know is that Florence Pugh is in it, and I really want to read it before whatever that comes out, which I don't think will come out before summertime, but I'm just planning on reading it this summer. That's my big book goal. The next book that I want to read is Evenings and Weekends by Oisin. Is that how you say it? Oisin McKenna? Oisin? Unfortunately, I don't know how to say it. This book, again, I have heard nothing but good things about. This is set in a really, really, really hot, scorching summer in London in 2019. And you're following, I think, multiple different couples, or at least multiple different characters, as they're navigating this crazy heat wave and just like their life during the summer, during these evenings and these weekends. And yeah, I just heard such good things about it. I've also heard it's like a queer story, which I was really trying to read more of this month, but it's kind of the end of the month now, so I don't think I'll be getting to it, but I will be reading it sometime this summer just because I've heard it is so good. I really want to read it. It's already on my Kindle, so it's locked and loaded and ready to go, which I'm so happy about. The next book I also have on my Kindle. I also have started that and have just been like starting to dip my toes into it. I think I've read maybe 2 chapters of it so far, but that is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I have this on my 25 books I want to read in 2025 list, so getting that checked off. But this book is, I think it is a romance. Some people say it's more than a romance, but I'm pretty sure it's a romance novel about these 2 authors who had a relationship in the past and then they broke up. And for the past multiple years, they have been writing about each other in their books. I'm pretty sure. Like I said, I started this and I'm maybe 2 chapters in and I haven't really gotten to that plot yet. I'm not entirely sure if that's the deal, but if it is, I'm so excited to get into it. It's already been really funny. It starts off with an absolute bang. I'm really excited to read it. I think I will really lock in today because the book starts on a Sunday, which is the day that I'm filming this. So I'm thinking I can read this as the days go on. 7 Days in June. It's June now. It's not going to be June forever, so I got to get cracking, kind of. And then the next book, I also had this listed on my 25 books I want to read in 2025. I'm not sure if I put this one down specifically or just any Jane Austen book, but this is the one that I have, Emma by Jane Austen. As much as I absolutely love the Pride and Prejudice movie, the 2005 one, 2005, I literally have never read a Jane Austen book, which I feel like is just wrong of me. And I'm thinking this summer is when I finally read something by her, because how can I go through life saying that Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite movies ever and then just not having read any of her books? That just doesn't make sense. This is one that I have, and I've actually never seen any of the movies or TV show adaptations for this one, so I'm going into it completely blind, which I think will be really fun just because I've seen all of the other adaptations for everything else that she's written, so I'm excited to go into this. And I feel like people say that this one is a good starter novel for Jane Austen because I think Emma's supposed to be really funny. Another one checking off my physical TBR, also on my 25 books to read in 2025. So slay. Another one from my physical TBR. I'm really trying to make that a priority for the rest of the year because I don't know, every time I'm I want to read for my physical TBR, end up buying more books or avoiding them and then reading books that I want to read on Libby. I need to stop doing that. This next one that I have is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I recently just went through all of the Caraval books, the Caraval trilogy. I just read those, and they weren't my favorite, but I've heard that like if you want to read this, it's probably best if you read those. So I read them, or I listened to them via audiobook, just so I could get into this one, because this is the one book by her that I actually own, because holy cow, this cover is so gorgeous. I bought this when I was in Spain and it's just been sitting on my shelf. I feel like normally people say that fantasy is like a fall winter genre. I'm not really sure what it is about this spring and summer for me. I have just been so into fantasy right now. This sounds so good, even though I didn't love the last Stephanie Garber books that I've been reading. I have higher hopes for this one. I think people say this one is better. I'm not really sure. I'm hoping it's going to be better. I also am so obsessed with the map in this book. Like, this is so gorgeous. Yeah, I'm hoping to read this one. This is kind of like a spin-off series from the Caraval trilogy. I think it happens in the same world because one of the main characters in this one is also like a side character in the Caraval trilogy. And I think it was kind of like a spoiler if you go into this without reading the other ones. Like, I don't really understand, but I'm familiar with the male main character in this book now because I've read the other ones. Just another romantic-y young adult trilogy that I'm hoping is good. We shall see. If not, it's a gorgeous book. Another book off of my physical TBR, really going on a roll here, is The Girls by Emma Cline. I read The Guest by Emma Cline last summer, fall-ish, and it was so fun, like so atmospheric and just perfect for like a hot summer day. And I think I read it in one day. So I'm excited to read her first book. I think this is her first book. I've heard like mixed things about it, but I'm thinking because I liked her first book or her other book that I'm gonna like this one. And this one is also like a summertime sort of read. This takes place in the 60s in California. Yep, at the start of summer, about these girls who I think get wrapped up in the Manson cult. They get wrapped up in a cult, regardless of who it is. I've had this for multiple years too, so I feel like I just need to get it off the TBR. It's so beat up. Oh my gosh. Lena Dunham has a quote on the back. Emma Cline has an unparalleled eye for the intricacies of girlhood, turning the stuff of myth into something altogether more intimate. She reminds us that behind so many of our culture's fables exists a girl, unseen, unheard, angry. This book will break your heart and blow your mind. Miss Girls is commenting on The Girls. Gonna have to read that. The last book that I had on my like predetermined summer TBR list is The Summer Book by Tove Jansson. I think that's how you say her last name, or Jansen, not really sure. But this is the author who created Moomin. If you're familiar with that little cartoon, I was first introduced to Moomin when I spent a summer in Iceland because they are so obsessed with Moomin over there. Like, it's so cute, this little character. Oh my god, so adorable. This book doesn't have anything to do with Moomin, but I've heard really good things about this book. It's about this girl who I think goes to live with her grandmother for the summer or something like that. But this creator of Moomin is apparently like a really kind of whimsical, atmospheric, really setting-driven person and just has really sweet writing. So I would like to read that, check that one out from the library because my library has that as well. I'll probably read that towards the end of summer. I'm not totally sure, just because I've got some other library books that I need to get to first. So even though these books I'm about to show you were not technically on my summer TBR, I went into the library the other day because this one book I've had on hold for months. And the person who had it before me had it overdue for months. Come on now. Don't be like that. I checked this one out because I was like, I'm not letting this keep sitting and lapsing and like whatever. So this is The Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. This was also on my 25 books to read in 2025, and I originally thought I was going to read this as my first book of the year, but that didn't work out. So I finally have it, and I'm finally going to read it sometime this summer. Well, within the next 3 weeks, actually, because that's when my hold is up. So I'm really excited about this book, actually. This is a dystopian book that was written, I think, in either the 80s or the 90s, but it's set in 2025. And in this dystopia, climate change has totally like ruined the world, ruined the landscape, ruined society. And unfortunately, I feel like this is going to be all too relevant to today, as climate change is such a big issue and it's literally the year 2025. So I'm scared to get into this, but I'm also so curious. What has this girl predicted? This is also a trilogy, so if I like this one, then I'll have another little fantasy trilogy to get into, which let's hope it stays fantasy and not reality. Really excited to read that one. Finally, it's in my hands. And this one was a little bit of an impulse checkout, if you will, not an impulse purchase. I have been wanting to read this, and I have had this on my like Libby e-reader holds for a little bit, but I just saw this sitting on the shelf and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab it. That is Good Girl by Aria Aber. I haven't heard too many things about it, but I think Jack Edwards said that he liked it, and Sean McComb said that he liked it, and I love Sean McComb. Like, love Jack Edwards too, but I think I heard Sean McComb talk about this more. And he has just like the best book recs. I feel like me and him have pretty similar taste. Yeah, I don't really know too much about this. Okay, let me read you the synopsis because I don't know if I'll be able to do this justice. In Berlin's artistic underground, where techno and drugs fill warehouses still pockmarked from the wars of the 20th century, 19-year-old Nila at last finds her tribe. Born in Germany to Afghan parents, raised in public housing graffitied with swastikas, drawn to philosophy, photography, and sex, Nila has spent her adolescence disappointing her family while searching for her voice as a young woman and artist. Then, in the haze of Berlin's legendary nightlife, Nila meets Marlowe, an American writer whose fading literary celebrity opens her eyes to a life of personal and artistic freedom. But as Nila finds herself pulled further into Marlowe's controlling orbit, ugly, barely submerged racial tensions begin to roil in Germany and Nila's family and community. After a year of running from her future, Nila stops to ask herself the most important question: who does she want to be? This is sounding so good. And it says it's like a stay up all night sort of read. Kabe Akbar has a blurb on the front who I also really want to read. Whoa! Sorry, I just hit you. I'm very excited about this. I don't know when I'm gonna read this. I really kind of want to bring this to the beach, but I'm also like scared because it's a library book and it's so new. This is like a very new book. Maybe I'll save that for when I'm back at home, but holy cow. That sounds really good. I think those are all the books that I have on my TBR. I'm sure I'm gonna read more just because, I don't know, I have that feeling. Then maybe I won't end up getting to all of these books, but I'm super hopeful because I have so many of them ready to go on my Kindle, or I had just owned them already. Like, why not read the ones that I own, girl? I just feel it. This summer is going to be such a good reading summer. And there are so many like new releases that I wanted to read and stuff like that, but I think I might have to wait to get through these bad boys first because I am so happy with this list. I want to finish the books that I'm reading right now and just jump into these. Stick around and see if I read all these by the end of the summer because who knows? Maybe I will. I definitely will. Knock on wood. I'm gonna read all these. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any books that you're really excited about for this summer, totally let me know. Would love to see what you guys are planning on reading. If you guys have read any of these books, would also love to know, like, which one should I read first? So many on the docket here. Happy summer reading, and I will see you in another video soon. Bye.